What's going on, guys? It's Charr here, back with another Let's Talk. Not super sure what I'm going to title this video, but essentially we're going to be talking about kind of the out-of-print product scare and kind of the fallout with that, the message that FFG sent to the community through Reddit, and everything in between. I want to try and split this up into two distinct sections. I don't have any script or notes as usual. I'll have like ideas off the top of my head to go off of. This is just, I saw this kind of discussion brewing through a couple content creators making videos, and definitely on like the official, not really official, the unofficial Marvel Champions Discord. There's been a lot of talk back and forth about kind of the new Asmodee / FFG website updates, showing a lot of products being out of print. As disclaimers before I get into this, I have my own opinions on the game, and I own the entire game, so my opinions are going to be completely different, I would assume, from someone who doesn't have the whole game / someone just getting into the game. So I want you to take this as a grain of salt, and I want these Let's Talk videos are supposed to be discussion topics about the topic at hand. I don't want to like talk over any voices or opinions, so feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. I will be down there chatting and replying with all you guys, but I really think this is an important topic. My views are completely my own. I don't work with FFG in any official capacity. I'd love to maybe collaborate in the future on a reveal or something, but as of now, all of these opinions are definitely 100% completely my own. I won't be beating around the bush on my thoughts, but I want to start and do this in two distinct sections. The first section, I want to focus on just the facts. What happened? What caused this uproar? What was the uproar? And let's read through the message together. The second section will be just straight up my opinions on it. So I want to try and read this as kind of like an unbiased, almost narrator, an unbiased viewer, take in all the information and then talk about what I think about all the stuff that had come out. So if you're looking at my screen right now, we're on like the main Marvel Champions product page. So this is something that gets updated when like, new product and stuff comes out. You have like the basic explanation of the game here and whatnot. So you can scroll down, you can hide the summary. There's like a showcase stuff, the 60 minutes 1 to 4. Around the time that the environment stuff was going on, even before they announced the current environment, things like that, I have a ton of videos talking about this. I had one discussion with Daring Lime. I had a reaction video to that. If you don't know anything about the current / legacy environment, the quick primer is essentially FFG is going on like almost like a TCG rotation where older products are going to stop being reprinted, but in the future we will be getting reprints of older heroes, but like in new forms. They've just alluded to like different product types. We're still going to be getting new heroes in general as well, but that's essentially the quick primer on what it is, and this caused a big uproar, especially because we weren't getting reprints of older content. That was the big selling and stinging point for a lot of members of the community. So a lot of that kind of fire and fervor kind of reignited when officially the website was updated, I think yesterday or a day or two now. So far, before that point, I think the only things that were marked officially out of print, please correct me if I'm wrong here, I think was like the Captain America hero pack, the Doctor Strange hero pack. I think War Machine was officially out of print, and I think like Sinister's Motives was also officially out of print. But as you're about to see, and I'm going to go through these product waves, these products wave by wave and tab by tab, that changed in a very major way. So of course the core set is an evergreen product. This just does not go out of print unless we're getting murmurings of a new core set. I really think no opinions here, sorry, I was about to get into one, but the core set does not go out of print as far as we know. But as soon as we hit the campaign expansion, you're going to see a lot of gray here. So starting from the Rise of the Red Skull all the way to Next Evolution, these expansions are all marked out of print. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 expansions in this game, and 6 of them are no longer being printed anymore. The only products still officially in print are Age of Apocalypse, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Civil War. That is the last 3 expansion boxes, and that got kind of people up in arms, kind of like in an uproar, kind of like freaking out a bit, and for good reason. There's a lot of people who pick up content like piecemeal, or like, oh, this hero looks interesting, or like, this is my favorite and whatnot, but eventually they'll go back and like, okay, this has gotten a lot of hype, let me pick this up. But now with all of these being marked out of print, that is cause for concern for a lot of players who are not all in the game. When this initially got news that they were updating the website, there was a lot of things even here that weren't marked out of print. I think specifically Galaxy's Most Wanted still said in stock, and if we go fast forward to the Wave 3 heroes, a lot of them might still say view on store. So again, I want to go only on the facts here. What I think this is I would assume every single card up until the next evolution wave and beyond, I would assume all of those heroes and expansions are out of print. The only reason why view on store is on Psylocke and Angel here is because they still have stock for these heroes. But as we know right now, all of these campaign expansions are just gone. Like, they are out of print. Obviously, there will still be product in, nature, or like, in local game stores near you, or maybe in online retailers. But once it's out, it's out. And officially, their statement is they are not making any more. We are moving forward with this current environment. These older products, once they're gone and off of shelves, and if you can't get them in like secondhand sellers or whatnot, that's it. There's these expansions don't exist basically for you if you can't purchase them. As we scroll down here, we look at all of Wave 1. You see Captain America out of print and Doctor Strange. Those are already out of print, but now we have Thor and Hulk marked as out of print. And again, Ms. Marvel and Black Widow, this is going to go into a bit of my opinion here. I think because they still have stock of these heroes is the only reason why they don't have the out of print marker on them. Galaxy's Most Wanted was like that. It had an in-stock or view in store thing, and I would assume as soon as all of that expansion is gone, it now has the out of print tag on it. We move down to Wave 2. Ant-Man still says view in store, but Wasp, Scarlet Witch, and Quicksilver out of print. Moving on to Wave 3. Again, we have all the Guardians that are still view in store, but if you'll see through Wave 4, which all of these are out of print, I would assume because there's a big amount of stock for the Guardians, maybe because they're like an MCU property or possible. Again, these are assumptions right here. But once their stock is out, they're out. Like, you can't get it anymore. Hero Packs, Wave 4, Nebula, War Machine, Vision, Valkyrie, all officially out of print. Wave 5, Nova, Ironheart, Spider-Ham, and SPDR, all officially out of print. And then it's not even limited to those waves. We're into the mutant waves. Cyclops, Phoenix, Wolverine, Storm, Gambit, and Rogue out of print. Then we move to Wave 7. Psylocke and Angel still have the view in store warning, but X-23 and Deadpool out of print. And then we get to Wave 8, which was the wave last year. And these, if we're going by what the website tells us, it being out of print of the Next Evolution box and all the Next Evolution wave heroes out of print, I would assume these definitely are still being printed. These will have reprint waves planned, but I can't guarantee that to you guys. So this obviously got the community in uproar, and there's just been a lot of talk about this, like, oh, the murmurings of the game is dying, or like, I can't get my hands on these cards, I have to go FOMO, like, I have FOMO tactics are in full effect through FFG here. I have to go splurge on all this content near me because since it's officially out of print, people are going to start picking it up. And this is kind of like a second wave of what happened after that current environment announcement came up with the fireside chat sometime earlier in the year. So this was causing a lot of uproar, and I think that FFG and specifically Olivia is doing a great job as kind of like the LCG community manager. I think they got on it really fast and they said, hey, we know there's a lot of stuff going on. Let's go officially to our players, talk to them through the unofficial subreddit, and let's make a post about it. So now that we know that all of these hero packs have officially been marked out of print, let's see what the message had to say about it. So here we are on the subreddit 3 hours ago, 246 upvotes. I'm just going to read this out in its entirety, and then we will probably eventually be getting into the discussion section here. So we have right here, Hiya. Wanted to be a part of the conversation here concerning our recent site update, which marked quite a few products as out of print. As a fan of the game, I can say that I understand the feeling when a lot of products seem more difficult to get. This may feel sudden, and we apologize to those caught off guard who may have missed previous messaging. To be very clear, this website update was simply overdue and was not influenced by the rollout of environments. We're striving for more transparency and better communication, and as a result, our website will be updated more frequently. We hear your concerns. Definitely talk about it. Share tips on how to find these products. Maybe start conversations on how certain staple cards from hard to get hero packs have alternatives. All that said, I can confidently say that the game's future is looking brighter than ever. 2026 is looking to be a really great year for Marvel Champions, and you'll get a lot of insight into that at the In-Fight Report next month, November 22nd at PAX Unplugged. It'll be live streamed, so be sure to check it out if you're not able to attend in person. We're not expecting the game to stand only on lesser known heroes, and you can rest assured your favorites will return in one way or another. The team is extremely confident in the next several years of products that they've been working on, and I think you are all going to love them. P.S. 2027 might be even better than 2026, which is really saying something. this is kind of the end of kind of this whole debacle as it stands at the moment. I wanted to give her comments a little bit of a chance to sit before we officially get into my thoughts on kind of the products in general, out of print things, generally speaking, and kind of reiterating my thoughts, because I don't think they've changed very much from when like the current environments and whatnot was announced. So I want to give time for that message to sit before I start talking about it. So for me, when we think of the out of print product, I think that directly affects kind of me and the local community I've been kind of brewing in my area in kind of Texas, and also to the people who watch and learn the game through my videos or any other content creators on the platform. From what I've noticed anecdotally from my local scene, from YouTube analytics, and kind of like just conversations in and out of the community, it really does feel like, at least online, the presence of this game is growing. It feels like the community is growing. Maybe not as big as it was. Most games, even board games, have a big initial buy-in. It goes steadily down over time, but once it hits that kind of lowish threshold of people, getting growth from that point is super important for keeping games around. And at least anecdotally, the game has felt like that for me. I've had new people coming to my locals asking to learn and teach the game, asking where I could buy and where I can, play this game. And as someone who really does love this game and enjoys playing it, I always have great conversations with these people. I get to teach them the game. I get to tell them, oh, no, your favorite hero is in this game, and they're actually really fun. Here's something really cool they can do. I'll bring them a deck to try it out. And then the question always comes up with, well, how do I get into this game? And there's been a couple people that I've gotten into the game where, at least in my local area, or like reaching out to people over Discord, I've been able to source these harder to find or out of print products. And it's kind of a blow, definitely to me and the community, to have like this officially announced. Like, again, what I'll say specifically is that these products, in my opinion at least, and it seemed to a lot of people in the community, a lot of these products have probably been out of print for a long time. I don't think Sinister Motives or Mad Titan Shadows or even the original Mutant Genesis has had a reprint wave in a couple years, I would say, for most of those. So when we go back to Olivia's message, I don't necessarily think she's lying in the fact where it was long overdue. But just because of the fact that it's long overdue, I would push back a little bit, doesn't lessen the blow that seeing this officially is. There's a lot of people who love and enjoy the game, and there's a lot of fresh blood, with the lack of a better term, getting into the game, which is really important for the continued success of the game. There's always going to be people like me who are big buying into this game, every single expansion, doesn't matter the product. I love this game, the designers do an excellent job, and the new stuff is just far and away, it's just so good. It's so professional. It's so replayable. Even without the big names, Hulkling and Tigra and the Civil War box is such a smash hit in my opinion. Even if you're not a big PvP person, the scenarios are great. The mod sets are great. The heroes are amazing. But there's also a lot of history with the game that people are just going to be missing out on. And it's really unfortunate, like I said, when I'm getting people into the game, teaching people the game, people getting into the game or interested in the game through my channel or videos of other creators, what can you tell them other than you just have to keep an eye out? You have to look through Discords like the Board Game Geek Marketplace. You have to look on Facebook Marketplace in your local area, because there is no official way to get your hands on these products. And it's tough. So like I understand, I think, both sides of this argument where, from a business perspective, you can't keep the SKUs in, rotation forever. It costs a lot of money. Doing reprint waves costs a lot of money that you might not make that money back. But also, as a big player and a player who loves this game, there's a ton of great stuff in all of these expansion boxes that is really, saddening that people getting into the game nowadays won't be able to experience. Back when they announced environments, my initial reaction was that it makes sense as a business decision, as a financial decision, and maybe even for the health of the game in general card pool, even though there's no competitive aspect, so that part isn't really super important in my opinion. But I do think it makes a business sense, but it does not make player sense, and you can't really make it make player sense. My opinion has always been that it is absolutely, even to this day, inexcusable to have this much product out of print without a plan or any sort of recompense for people who want to buy this stuff. I know in the past that FFG had done print on demand stuff, even for like Lord of the Rings and I think the Nightmare deck specifically. I know that they had history doing print on demand in the past, and I know that Marvel is probably way more stringent and way harder to get that to work than a Lord of the Rings property is. But I'd like some communication on, yes, this is feasible, yes, this is something we can work on or even look into, versus the radio silence of just like, that's it, the products are gone. I do think it's completely inexcusable to have almost over half the game just wiped out. Of course, it's been out of print for a lot longer than this website shows, but half the game wiped out in the course of a day, it feels like. This product is not going to be printed again. It will not be getting a reprint wave. Once they are off store shelves and once all the Facebook Marketplace and eBay has been run dry, that's it. You cannot officially get these products in any way, shape, or form, which I think is super disappointing as a big fan of the game. I think unequivocally FFG needs to speak candidly to their fans, speak candidly to the fans of Marvel Champions who are new to the game, just getting into the game, or have few products, who want to give them money, for these products, and do something about it. Whether that's repackaged waves like they did with Lord of the Rings, how they did it with like the Saga boxes and a couple of their expansions. Maybe you do a big X-Men campaign box, which has Mutant Genesis, Next Evolution, and Age of Apocalypse all in one. And then you have like 2 hero expansions, which is like, Cyclops through, Cyclops through Deadpool, and then Iceman through Jubilee is the second one. And like you have these big repackaged boxes for at least giving people the option to get this content that they're missing. But I think without any sort of recompense, without any way to get this content, I think it's absolutely inexcusable as a big fan of the game, even though I can see and understand it from the business perspective. I would say have these serious discussions internally about repackaging the content. Or if it's not repackaging, having some way to do print on demand. There are people who, even having access to the box is so much more important than the price it'll cost. Let's say like Razor Red Skull comes back, but it's 90 USD in a reprint one, and there has to be a certain minimum number of orders. I'm not a businessman, I don't run FFG, and I think a lot of the hate is probably wrongly diverted from the community. I think, like the Olivia, the community manager, and all the designers and everyone who works specifically on the product itself probably don't have a lot of say in these decisions being made, which I think is pretty unfortunate, because I think they're doing what they can with what they have. They have been given, I'm not trying to infantilize them in any way, but I would say if they do have that power, if they do have the pull, it is a discussion worth having to kind of preserve this content for the future. You can still have the current environment. You can still have the lower SKU count. You can still have, less shelf space, so more stores will be able to, shelve your game, to be able to stock your game. All of that can still be a thing while respecting and maintaining the previous content in this game. I think it's super important, and I think it's super unfortunate if this truly is the path we're going down, which, well, like I said, I think we will be more likely than not going down. But that doesn't mean we should give up talking about it or going and reaching out through the proper channels to let the company know this is something we care about. Even as someone who has bought in completely to the game and someone who gets people into the game to learn, teach, and become a part of the community, this is important to me. I want people to find out about this game. I want people to have fun and enjoy it. And it's harder and harder to recommend when someone asks about their favorite hero being, Nova, and being like, oh, well, you actually can't get him anymore. He is in the game, but you don't have access to it. I think reaching out through proper channels, I'm not saying spam their inbox or spam specifically Olivia. I think sending, thoughtful, thought out messages to wherever they take feedback, whether that's their contact channels, reaching out to them over social media like Facebook or Blue Sky, or reaching out through them to their support emails and whatnot, or some sort of like grassroots organization to keep this stuff not necessarily in print, but to find a solution for the people who don't have these cards, I think is super admirable, and I think it's something that should be done. Hearing our voices, and voices I think have a lot more power than people tend to think. And obviously the amount of, I put complaining in quotation marks, but obviously the amount of discussion struck a chord, especially for the community manager to see it. That's just step one. They acknowledge it, they see what's going on, and even though there's no like good or positive answers in that message other than the future of the game will continue to be supported and have really good designs and cool stuff coming, that doesn't mean the fight for keeping this content alive is over. And that's just something I wanted to reiterate. Even at the end of the road, let's say a year or two down the line, there's no sort of like reprint cycle or print on demand or whatever you may have in sight. Even if none of that comes to fruition, there are still options. I would say joining the Marvel Champions Discord, the unofficial one but the largest one, is a good place to start. There's a lot of times in the buy, sell, trade channel, people will be getting rid of their hero packs at MSRP, even at a cost sometimes. Obviously, there's people who are closer to the market price, but you will be able to find, items or collections at a reasonable price to build your collection. There are still a lot of packs out there, especially people think everything's been run dry. It's not even close to true. Go to your local board game stores or go to your local TCG stores and just ask them, have you guys ever stocked this game? Do you have any Marvel Champions? And you will be surprised at the stuff you can still find. But this is a band-aid solution. Let's say down the line we have no reprint cycles. What can we do? And again, I'm speaking candidly as someone who does not work with FFG in any form or have any partnership as of yet. The Marvel Champions homebrew Discord is super they're kind of like your best friend in this fight to get this content, retain the content. Officially, if there's no solution officially, there will be a lot of solutions, in my opinion, unofficially, to get this content in your hands. As you see, for more examples from the Lord of the Rings community, there are a lot of people who do like homebrew and make like really good campaigns or heroes that are almost as good as the original, and they have almost like super great like proxying guides and whatnot for that unofficial content. A lot of those same concepts are really present in the Marvel Champions homebrew community. If you cannot find the product, trust me, there will be people more than happy to find you alternative solutions to getting that product. Will it be officially made, produced by FFG? Not at all, but it will be the content. It won't be the official cards, but it will be physical in a way you can play. There are so many other avenues to find and enjoy the game as well, through Tabletop Simulator, these unofficial mods, or Dragon Cards, these unofficial players of the game, because we don't have an official simulator, that you can have and enjoy the game in multiple ways, even if this doesn't come out in fruition or work in the way in the player's favor. What I wanted to say basically is that there is a lot of doom and gloom, and I would say good reason for it. I think I could come out as kind of like dismissive, especially because I own the game and I like playing in a limited format. So when the current environment was announced, I'm like, this is really cool. I love playing limited, but I get to have that opinion because I own the entire game. So as a new person trying to come in and collect the game or learn the game or learning the game for the first time and realizing you can't buy it all, that's a completely different reaction to what I had to that. And I want to acknowledge that viewpoint and open the comment section for any and all discussion about this below. I think there's a ton to talk about here, and I think there's so many different nuances. But I do want to end. Let's go ahead and just see what a couple of the comments on this page have. So you have a couple of comments here. Thank you for the actual communication. I think this is a big step too. I think it's really important that they're actually communicating with the community here. Even though, I've seen people be cynical, like, oh, 2026 is going to be huge and 2027 is going to be even bigger. Like, oh, just trust me, bro, type thing. But I think that's a really cynical viewpoint. I think Olivia has been doing a great job as a community manager. They have been around and active in the community in a lot of ways that has just been foreign to the community in the past. And I think this is it's a good message. This isn't the answers that everyone wants to hear. That being said, I do have hope that we're going to get a really big announcement at this PAX thing, and I'm really looking forward to it. I really hope they go more in depth on the current environment stuff, at least sometime soon, because that will be very important, I think, for kind of quelling maybe the uproar in the community and, reassure people the game will be continuing and thriving, even though that stuff, we need the older content, at least in my opinion. Midnight Suns of Fantastic Four expansions, please. Okay, yeah, I mean, these are pretty well-requested ones. Does a new product include Canada? We're still looking. Okay, they're asking about the Canadian release. Thank you for communicating with the community. The current state of the game is discouraging to new players. I would say I agree with that, especially with a lot of the people anecdotally that have been getting into the game. There's a lot of really popular heroes that I just say, I keep my eye out. I'll look out for packs for you. But a lot of this stuff is way harder to find. Captain America, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, the X-Men fans. And then this guy has a couple of demands that I don't know I necessarily agree with 100%. Make Sinister Motos an evergreen product. I don't think that needs to be the case. I think every single expansion will rotate out eventually, but it's not a terrible idea. Keep reprinting X-Men hero packs. Again, this is kind of like a band-aid solution, because then a year or two from now, those packs are still gone. Redesign Hulk. Okay, I think there's more important things. Daredevil, I think we're very likely getting that the next wave if Civil War is anything to go off of. Consider a print-on-demand option for legacy content. So, yeah, I think this is truly the only answer to what's going on, and I think someone highlights it here that licensing makes it really hard to do it. I wonder if there's just like someone at Marvel they can talk to, or is there any way through the company, through the the voices of the community to reach out? Of course, it's almost a pipe dream for a company, a conglomerate as big as Marvel. That doesn't mean it's fruitless to even try. I think print on demand is the only solution for this. Nothing is going to stay in print forever. These literally can't stay in print forever. They could, but operating costs, it is a business, and of course, the business side, we need the business to succeed for them to keep making the game. So everyone's like, well, you should just keep it in print. It's an LCG. That's what an LCG is. There is no LCG if there's no business, right? If the game is bleeding money because of all these SKUs and all these reprints going out, the game just dies. And you might argue, well, not having access to the content means the game also dies. And I'm not necessarily saying that's wrong, but I'm saying that I think the only solution is finding a print-on-demand option for these packs. It doesn't matter if it's 2 times, 3 times the price, depending on the card count and whatnot. It's just, it just needs to happen, it feels like. And so I'm glad you have something up your sleeve. Vagueness and uncertainty always brings a community down, and I am happy that you're taking steps to correct that, even if it's another month, but still. The goal of our new team, myself and our LCG marketing manager, is to make more frequent and direct communication a regular occurrence. I'm counting on all of you to hold me accountable there. Never hesitate to reach out if you have a question. I may not always answer, but I'm happy to lend an ear and pass it along. If you're open to feedback, your marketing strategy has relied on the idea of surprises to build hype, and I don't think it's helpful. Discussions in fan communities and excitement among players goes up. We have a sense of what's coming, and knowing that, say, Defenders is coming soon, help makes the bitter pill of having to pretend we enjoy the Fantastic Four easier to swallow, or reverse. It's all more true when more information about the possibilities of new states based on out-of-print heroes has been raised and not elaborated upon. Some longer-term discussion that's more concrete than we're really excited about the future would go a long way. I completely agree that vague comments aren't helpful. Our in-flight aren't very helpful. Our in-flight report next month will have a lot of information fans are looking for. I can't say everything that is going to be discussed there, but I will say there will be a lot of information specifically for Marvel Champions fans included in that presentation. So, and then, we see a lot of detractors here and people who are more negative on the goings on about this post. But I think it is a good step in the right direction to have this, open avenue for discussion. She seems to be out here replying to the comments. And I want to reiterate the same thing where, as far as the design of this game, I do think Marvel Champions will be completely fine. But that doesn't give it an excuse to just have all this content and cards disappear. I think there is a way to find a solution, and it may not be the numbers or the financial incentive that Fantasy Flight Game really likes, but I think they kind of owe it to the community and the people who enjoy the game. Now, does that mean it'll happen? Not at all, not even close. But that being said, I am looking forward to the future of this game. I think that just the cleverness of the design and how succinct and fun everything works together, flows together, and goes together is so much fun to see how it evolved through the years of the game. Civil War, I think, was a smash hit release in my opinion, and I can't wait to see where the game goes next. If you take anything to this, I would say, bunker down and, commune with the community. People, if you're new to the game, if you're old to the game, if you're looking to fill out the remaining gaps of your collection, lean on the community. Reach out. Be like, hey, I need this pack. If anyone in their nearby area sees it and someone spots it for you, they can pick it up, ship it to you, pay them for it. This community I've seen has been really fun and really, kind of great to each other in terms of helping each other out. And I don't think that'll change anytime soon. This doesn't necessarily fix the issue for the person who comes in 6 months, a year, 2 years from now and wants to get the original Doctor Strange, but it can help in the interim. And I think, a lot of the onus falls on us as players, especially if you don't mind going unofficial ways to get your hands on product. The Homebrew Discord could definitely help you out in other ways to play and enjoy this game physically or digitally through various simulators like Tabletop Simulator, Dragon Cards, and whatnot. That's about all I have for this video. I wanted to split it in the beginning to just the facts and just the opinion so that none of my bias kind of, really clouded the judgment of you on the facts part of this article. Let me know what you guys think about this approach and this Let's Talk episode down below. Please leave any and all comments you have on this, discussions and whatnot down below. I will be down there talking and responding to you guys. That's it for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Goodbye.